What's up, everyone? Welcome back to After the Storm. This is the Canes game review for the Carolina Hurricanes' 2-1 loss to the Philadelphia Flyers in Game 12 of the season. There's not a whole lot to go over in introing this game. Frederik Andersen gets the start in net again for the Canes. At the other end, a much improved Carter Hart over last season gets the start for the Flyers. Josh Leivo draws in for his first game as a member of the Carolina Hurricanes, with Martin Necas going out due to an illness. And Seth Jarvis moves up the lineup to the top line to play with Aho and Svechnikov. And early on in the game, a very poor turnover for Andrei Svechnikov on the half boards. He just basically passes the puck out to Justin Braun. Braun has a good chance, walks right in, gets a shot away, but Freddie makes the save. And what would become a theme of this game, a bit of a physical altercation between the two teams. Brendan Smith ends up dropping Derek Brassard, who would kind of be all over this game. Brassard looks to be a little bit more rejuvenated than he has been in the last couple seasons. But Brendan Smith ends up dropping him after Smith drops his stick. A nice hit. We would see a few of them in this game. And basically, anytime the Aho, Svechnikov, and Jarvis line got on to the ice, they were creating opportunities. They really controlled possession of this game. And really what makes the third period, which we'll get to, all the more frustrating. Carter Hart was making a few good stops early. He looked solid, and he ended up being solid throughout this entire game. And I thought, taking a look at Josh Leivo, his first shift, and I thought he was pretty effective during the entirety of this game. A guy that I've been kind of excited to see how he slots into this bottom six role. Obviously, he's got a ways to go to make sure that he stays up. I don't believe he will. But there's lots of time with Nino Niederreiter being out. And obviously, we'll see how long Martin Necas is out for. Might be another game. Might be the St. Louis game tonight that Necas is out for as well. So Leivo might get an extended look on this squad, and hopefully he does well, because he's a guy I really think fits nicely into Rod's system. First power play of the game would go to the Philadelphia Flyers, as Kokoniemi ends up taking a penalty on the back check. One big chance on this power play for the Flyers, Travis Konecny chance, ends up with a scramble save by Freddie. And towards the end of the power play, Teuvo Teravainen gets tripped up by James Van Riemsdyk, and we go to some 4-on-4 before an abbreviated Canes power play. And much like the Flyers power play, only one big chance on this one for the Canes. Svechnikov had a chance, and Hart made a nice glove stop on him, and Philadelphia would end up killing off the penalty. Frederik Andersen also looking solid early. He made a couple stops in this game off Travis Sanheim. I mentioned that top line of Svechnikov, Aho, and Jarvis out there. Honestly, every time they were generating stuff, and on this play they generate a hooking call off of Ivan Provorov. And this is kind of where, I mentioned it basically in every video, except for the Arizona video so far this season. The penalty parade begins, and it's always, for some reason, in the goddamn first period, and it's always midway through. So right after a Tony DeAngelo one-timer where Teuvo Teravainen gets a nice rebound and Hart makes both saves, Jordan Staal gets called for interference on Joel Farabee. So we head back to 4-on-4. And then probably one of the weakest calls I've ever seen. Vincent Trocheck on the half boards, kind of checking against Travis Sanheim. Sanheim, while he's crossing over on his skate, steps on the boards and falls down. And of course, this would be called a tripping penalty. So the Flyers head to a 4-on-3 power play. And shortly after that, the penalty to Provorov expires, sending the Flyers to a 5-on-3. And not much would happen. A solid kill for the Canes here. Yandel would have one really good one-timer chance from kind of the top of the slot, and Freddie would make the save. Now after the penalty expires to Jordan Staal, he kind of gets sprung out of the box, comes down on a breakaway, gets stopped by Carter Hart, again, who was just so amazing in this game. He ends up doing like a power forward move to end the period, finds his way to the backhand. Hart makes another big stop, shorthanded, on Jordan Staal, and that's how we'd end the first, tied 0-0. Carolina would open up the second period, still killing off that Vincent Trocheck penalty. They'd end up killing off both penalties, of course. No team ended up scoring in the power play in this game, so I might honestly, I don't even know. I might ignore every time I wrote down power play on the sheet because nobody scored. It was all 5-on-5 in this game, so yeah, it was not a special teams game, that's for sure. Kokoniemi actually ended up getting what I thought was one of his better games of the season so far. He's been kind of quiet over these last 3 or 4. He throws a massive hit. He might have jumped into it, actually, which would make it an illegal hit. But he throws a big hit, shoulder to shoulder, on Travis Sanheim behind the Flyers net. Back down the other way, Jordan Staal with a nice play to get some room, makes a nice saucer pass across to Steven Lorentz, who deflects the puck on his backhand. Hart there to make the save all the way, tracks it perfectly. A Tony DeAngelo pinch, which would come up again later in the game. His pinch leads directly to a 2-on-1. A good chance there, but Freddie, he makes a nice stop off of Oscar Lindblom. Couturier, who I thought had a pretty weak game for the Flyers in this one, who's one of their big names. He had really just the one chance here. Freddie makes a nice stop on him as well. Then the Flyers end a kind of a weird scramble chance. Staal shoots the puck way wide. Foss just kind of grabs the puck and throws it towards the front of the net, looking for Lorentz in front. Man, I'm never going to get his name right. Steven Lorentz. I keep saying Lorentz. But nevertheless, Foss centering pass ends up kind of deflecting up. Lorentz bats the puck. See, I just did it again. Lawrence bats the puck cleanly out of the air, below the bar, legal play. I honestly, while I was watching the broadcast, I thought this was a high stick. But it's nice, below the bar, drops down, kind of bounces into the net past Carter Hart, and the Canes lead 1-0. Play that ended up all over the place. Svechnikov gets a shot, the rebound bounces around. Jarvis eventually shoots at the puck, breaks his stick, goes off of his foot. His blade ends up in the net before the puck does. And Hart just kind of thought the stick was the puck, and the puck ends up inside. But unfortunately, entering the zone, Vincent Trocheck is... I should say Seth Jarvis, actually. Trocheck was last game. Jarvis was considerably offside. He didn't stretch back enough on the play, so the goal is waved off due to the offside call. And right after this disallowed goal, this is kind of when the game would shift a little bit. Physicality for the Flyers would pick up, and usually when you do that against Carolina, it kind of leads to good results. So immediately after, Teuvo Teravainen going into a corner with Ivan Provorov. Teuvo just gets absolutely destroyed on this play. I saw a lot of people on Twitter thinking this was a cross-check. I don't really think it was. I know the stick was kind of in there, but I don't think Provorov used the stick on the play. This is a pretty clean hit, and Teuvo ends up receiving these hits a lot. Like, he's just... I don't really know if he's got to work on keeping his head up or something. He's obviously going to be out-muscled on some of these plays, but he's also fearless in that way, and that he'll just go into any corner against anybody. Carolina heads back to the power play off of a Sean Couturier hooking penalty. Another penalty on the play would be called, but during the delay, which nearly lasted the entire 2 minutes of this power play, the Canes end up with a bunch of chances, but again, Carter Hart standing tall. Honestly, he was the difference maker in this game. Farabee would go off in the second penalty of this for a high stick on Sebastian Aho in the neutral zone. Carolina heads to their fourth power play of the game, and on this power play, Kokoniemi with a nice chance off of a Seth Jarvis pass. Hart makes a big save on this one again, keeping the Flyers within reach. Trocheck, Aho, and Svechnikov would combine for a nice passing play to end the period, but again, Hart, big stop. And we'd head to the third period with the Carolina Hurricanes leading 1-0. Opening up the third period, again, Philadelphia's going to kill off the penalty. Nobody scored on the power play in this game. Both penalty kill units were really, really good. Some chances were given up, of course, but both teams were very solid on their penalty kills. Joel Farabee, who was probably the best forward, I would say, on the Flyers in this game. He was buzzing all night. And a nice set play by the Flyers. They shoot it off the backboards. Farabee skates on with a ton of momentum way past the defender. Gets around, sneaks it through the 5-hole of Freddie Anderson, and we're tied 1-1. So again, I'm going to bring this up now because this is what this all leads to. Is for whatever reason, the third and fourth lines of the Carolina Hurricanes were basically the only two lines to play about the first 10 minutes of the third period. I don't know why that was. The top line of Aho, Svechnikov, and Jarvis in this game really controlled possession every time they were out on the ice. I thought the second line of Trocheck, Teravainen, and Kokoniemi were very weak in this one. But even then, the third line of Staal, Foston, and Lawrence was phenomenal all game as well. So, again, I understand a lot of defensive zone starts usually leads to Jordan Staal being on the ice. But running the fourth line out so consistently... and just running these two lines, like, no wonder you got caved in. So again, I don't know if there was an injury or what was going on, or just due to the fact that they wanted Stahl out there for defensive zone starts and all that. I really don't know what it was from Rod on this one, and I'm baffled. He ran 2 lines, and not to mention, one of those lines has Jesper Fost, who's battling an illness. He looked like he was out of gas to begin the third period. And this is just how you lose a game. Plain and simple. Just not, you're running 2 lines, and 2 lines that can't possess the puck enough to get it out, even when they win the face-off. And by the time Rod made the switch to start throwing those 2 lines back out, it just seemed like it was too little too late. The Flyers end up with 10 shots in the first 5 minutes after coming into the period being outshot 27-13. And when the first line did come out, Teuvo Teravainen had a nice chance in tight against Carter Hart, but he missed the net. And a developing play as Justin Braun from the point gets a shot away. It's tipped by Zach McEwen. This puck somehow finds its way through Frederik Andersen into the net, and the Flyers lead 2-1. Travis Konecny goes off for a penalty against Brady Shea, sending Carolina to their 5th power play of the night. Teuvo Teravainen, who really in this third period probably had the best chances of any Carolina Hurricane, he ends up hitting the post. Trocheck gets stopped on the rebound, and the Flyers kill off the penalty. Trocheck then takes a penalty for slashing, and stop me if you've heard this before, Vincent Trocheck taking a penalty as a penalty killer at a key time of the game. But Carolina would really control this the penalty kill, I should say. Stepan and Martinook had some excellent chances. A 2-on-1 chance. Martinook ends up with a spinorama backhand chance on Carter Hart, but Hart stops all of it. Frederik Andersen gets pulled with about 2:10 left in the third period. Kokoniemi had a stuffed chance that was turned away by Hart. Aho had a chance in the slot off of a one-timer. Hart again, big glove save. And that would pretty much do it. Svechnikov had the best other chance of this, but that was really to get a whistle and get a different line onto the ice toward the end of the game. The Flyers win this one 2-1 in what was a baffling third period to watch. So look, I don't want to really, because the Flyers earned that game unequivocally. It was very obvious just watching the game. Carolina was the better team, but the Flyers battled their entire way back into this one, and they were led by their goaltender. But of course, my focus is going to be on what the hell was Rod Brind'Amour doing in the first 10 minutes of this period when he's just running 2 lines. And Rod's quote after the game was that the third period leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And again, I don't know. I don't like the quote because he's the guy who's running the damn lines. It doesn't make sense to me. There wasn't a lot of icings. There wasn't a lot of anything at the beginning of this period that required you to be running the third and fourth lines out for the first 10 minutes of the period. Again, I also mentioned this on Twitter. Do I think this is cause for concern? No, I'm just really bringing it up because it's a decision that was a very bad one that was made, and hopefully we don't see it again. It's one game of a very long season. It's totally fine, but again, you can't be just running Jordan Staal and Derek Stepan out as your centers for the first 10 minutes of a period in the year 2021. Let's get to some good players from this game for the Carolina Hurricanes. Start off with Freddie. Again, another incredibly solid performance from Freddie. Unfortunately, doesn't get the goal support to win this one. Doesn't get much support at all in this one because he was basically left out to dry for the entire third period as the Flyers, I think the Flyers probably put up about nearly 20 shots on Freddie in the third period alone. Steven Lawrence gets the goal in this one for the Canes. I thought he had an excellent game. He is really establishing himself as a very good bottom 6 player and a player that fits perfectly into Rod's system. And again, I mentioned it earlier, I thought Jesperi Kotkaniemi had a fantastic game in this one. We still want to see more from him. We want to see him develop the offensive side of his game a lot more. But so far, he's doing a lot of good stuff. He has some quiet periods, but he when he is loud and noticeable on the ice, he is very, very good. Again, some map players in this one. I'm going to go with Trocheck. Again, the penalties are ridiculous. I thought he created some good offense, so that's kind of where he balanced himself out in this game. And Svechnikov, again, we talked about how great he was to start the season. All the goals, all the points. And again, the biggest concern, of course, is when he goes cold, he goes cold. And it looks like he's starting to, or he probably already is, but we're now seeing in the middle of this where he's just gone cold again. He's a streaky player, we all know that, but it's really about getting yourself back out of those weird streaks. And I only had one bad player in this game, Tony DeAngelo. Obviously the best puck handler on the Canes D, maybe next to Jacob Slavin, who, you know, had a quietly good game in this one as well. But the 2 pinches are what I'm looking at right now, and I tweeted this out, that I think they have to start looking at when Tony can pinch and what line he's got to be on with in those situations, because both times I think he did it with the 4th line both times in this game, and there was nobody back to cover. That's a massive aspect of this team. A defender goes in, they have that free range to go do that, but there's always a player back. And in this one, 2 direct pinches led to incredible scoring chances for the Flyers. I don't think they scored on either of them, but that's definitely a cause for concern, because eventually you're going to get a team that does capitalize on those. And to highlight a Flyers player, of course, Carter Hart. A down season last year during the shortened season with COVID, but he looks like he hasn't missed a step from 2 seasons ago when he was incredible as well. So it's great to see Carter Hart back in form. Not great for us, but it's great to see him back in form. He's probably going to be on the short list for Team Canada at the Olympics. But overall, what a game, making so many stops in this game. Incredible goaltender. And yeah, if the Flyers can maintain this level of Carter Hart, even 80% of this, they're in very good hands moving into the future. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up down below. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below as well about this game. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. You'll get these videos as soon as they upload. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one.